Shocka.
James.
Welcome to Liverpool.
Thanks for having me. I've been here a lot.
Have you?
I'm here a lot, yeah, because I got there's a company I work with. Plug.
No, you get it.
Can we plug straight away?
Get the plug out the way.
Which camera am I looking at?
Any of them.
So I'm wearing a top that says "Make Life Kind." I'm an ambassador for a company called Milk Education, and the milk stands for Make Life Kind. And they just get different milk influencers. That's what they're called. Clever. They get different milk influencers into different schools to talk about different subjects. So I speak about mental health. Someone else speaks about racism. Someone else speaks about bullying. Someone else speaks about all different topics. And like, they're incredible. Also, at the moment, sorry, I'm going off.
No, please.
Also, at the moment, they're actually looking for investment to keep the charity afloat. And like, I'm really riding for that because this is a charity that, you know, not saying there's no charities that don't need to be in the world, but this one's doing so much good. So if you know anyone, or if there's anyone out there.
What's the website?
Milk, I don't know the website. Oh, you threw me under the bus. After that great speech, just Milk Education, or just reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the owner and you can take it from there. But yeah.
It sounds amazing, man. I like education's, you know, the most important thing.
100%.
You know, I always think if we can grab our young people when they're young,
yes,
and teach them about these things, yes, then you give them all the tools so that when they're older, like especially, I mean, look, let's just dive straight in. Yeah. Mental health, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If I knew now what I know, or not even close to what I know now, if someone had sat me down and gone, right, this is the situation, these are things that you might encounter, these are ways that you might think and you might feel, and these are the tools that you have at your disposal to deal with them.
Yeah.
My 30s would have been a fucking breeze.
This is why I do what I do. This is why I'm here. This is why I'll come all the way from London to see my brother James. This is why I'm here, because like, I was not prepared for what I was about to face.
No.
There's nothing that prepares you unless they actually prepare you. But I was not prepared for like the real world, especially my background, like being an only child, being sheltered. My father wasn't around, so it's just my mum. So like, how's my mum gonna raise a man? Really? She tried her best though. She sent me to Nigeria. She tried to do all these little things to help, but like, you need a man present, man. And like, that could have really sat me down and said, this is what the world really is like. Now I had to go through all of these like harsh experiences, which I'm lucky I survived, and then pour the information back.
Well, I mean, you're a very religious man, and I got that from your book.
100%. Yeah.
And I think when we're dealing with aspects of faith and we're dealing with our own self-identity, there is a world where God put these challenges in front of you and these obstacles and these hurdles, and unfortunately some of them were really, really brutal and really violent and really unpleasant, especially, you know, being sectioned and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, the man that you are now and the impact that you're making now and going to schools and speaking to young people and doing the TED Talks and the album, I mean, my God, fuck it, we'll get onto the album. But those things are making a real tangible difference in people's lives.
Definitely.
And had you not been through that stuff, you wouldn't be this guy now.
It's true. I was saying to someone, because I'm working on a new book, which I speak about here exclusively, but I'm working on a new book called Obedient to the Call. And like, I'm quarter way through it. And it's a shame I can't do it with my publishing company that brought out this book, because they only publish mental health books. But this book is like extremely more spiritual. It's got a lot of like Bible references to what I'm talking about. So, but the book, I was talking to someone on the phone and I was telling them like, because what inspired the book was, you know, in Section of My Life, which is there, which you lot can't see. Just let them, this
book
one
right here.
That one. Yeah. So in that book, there's a small section where I talk about, I went to Nigeria and I stayed with my auntie, and she took me to a church service, and the church service was preaching about confidence, and I made a covenant with God, just, you know, blindly, not knowing what I'm talking about, just saying, one day I would love to do your work and help in whatever way I can, and like grabbed onto that and said, yeah, really? Okay, cool. And so it's like, I was like, no, like that part, I don't think people understood how powerful that part is. I need to take that part and turn it into a whole book.
Wow.
Because that's where Obedient to the Call is, because like, I was literally obedient to that call that I said that I want to help in some way. I followed that. That's what that's what guided me through all the sectionings. I used to hang on to that. While I was in hospital, I was thinking like, is this part of doing the work? You know what I mean?
Really?
Or when I was in a group, I always had it in the back of my head. So now like I'm actually walking in it. Can you imagine how crazy that is for me? Can you imagine how strong my faith levels are? Because like,
wild.
Yeah, can you imagine from my perspective, a little kid saying that, getting on their knees and saying that, and then like 20 years later, you're doing TED Talks, you've got your book, you're paid to speak, you're winning awards, you're in a generation where it's mental health driven, but your experience that you went through is the experience that people need for that generation. But my mind's blown. I can't believe it. It's like I'm in a dream.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
like I'm in a
just got
dream.
goosebumps.
It's like I'm in a dream. It's like there's a bit in the Bible where it says when God blessed the Israelites, it was like they was dreaming. And I was like, oh, I get that. I know what that means. So like that's why I used a lot of Bible references for this new book, because it makes sense. When he says there was dreaming, I was like, oh, that's how I feel. Like when it all comes to play, it's like your dream. It's like I remember when I won an award on my mum's birthday. The story on my mum's birthday. And I remember being in an Uber back on the way home. I tell my friends this all the time. My friend Double S. I had the windows down blowing and I had the award in my lap. And I was just sitting there and I was like, what is going on? Like, it's crazy. And then like, say someone like, not to get too Bible religious, but like, say someone like Noah. Mm-hmm. We all know Noah's story because of Noah's Ark. But I'm learning more on my Christian faith. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm putting in the work. And I learned that at the time when he was saying it's going to rain, it hadn't rained for ages during that period. So he sounded even more crazy. So it's like, I relate to that. So like when I was telling my mom and telling my aunties I'm going to be a mental health advocate and I'm going to tell my story and they was begging me not to, it was like me saying it's going to rain. And then like, when I got to bring my auntie to like a documentary premiere I did that was sold out, it's like, we can speak about the obedience to the call chapter for like ages. But yeah, that's the next book. And yeah.
It's amazing because you found, it's like, first of all, I read the book. I devoured this book. Yeah. It's such easy reading and it's written in such a lovely conversational flow. Like I can hear your voice when I'm reading it.
There's even some spelling corrections and like
I didn't want to point out the bad grammar.
It's
man.
me. Like that's good. I like that though.
I know I do.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's really me.
I do.
I really wrote it. Yeah.
My mum's desperate to read this, so I'm going to pass this on to my mum.
Yeah, big up.
What I was going to say, big up my mum. I was going to say there's something in through the faith that you found in God, it almost gave you the faith in yourself.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Because I never had that.
Because you didn't have that. And I felt reading your book, especially going through like your early years, even your formative years when you started making music and you were like, yeah, I'm quite good at this. Yeah. And you're part of a collective and you get signed and you're kind of on the journey. I always got the impression that you seemed quite lost. Yeah. Like there's no confidence really in anything that you're doing.
But you wouldn't know because I was always covered.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I was in a group, I was going from group to group, so you wouldn't know. If someone had poked at it, it would have all spilled out.
And you're with alpha males as well.
Yeah,
you're
100%.
with there's black masculinity there.
Yeah.
You know, and you're part
especially
of that.
My area, Tottenham especially is full of gangsters. Like especially so being given that task of speaking about mental health in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
It was just, what I'm saying, just the way it all came to play. It's just mind blowing.
It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. I get it.
My faith couldn't be stronger. Like, no, I have no doubts. I don't want to argue with no one. Like, I just believe what I believe. And now I also believe that like your relationship with God should be personal. I truly believe that now because it should be personal because when you do get the message you're supposed to get, you will know because it's a personal thing. Only you will know. Do you know what I mean? If I tell you now, James, when you get home, there's going to be a sock on the left near your wardrobe. And you get home and no one else's wardrobe because their room's not set up like yours. I'm just saying yours personally. And you get home and there's a sock on the left. You're going to call me and be like, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I mean? Can we swear on this?
Yeah.
You're going to call me and be like, what the fuck is going on? And that's what I think. But whereas like if everyone's experience of God is generalized, then I can just say random things and everyone will put their hand up because we're all, you want the specific nuances. And that's what happened with like my journey. I've had like specific things that I'm like, wow, okay.
It's astonishing.
And it gives you the strength to like, you know.
It's astonishing. Well, it gives you the strength to be you, because that's also one of the wonderful things about you. And having listened to your music now and read your book and done some research on you, you are absolutely authentically you right now. I think for the first time in your life, you're making the music that you want to make. You're saying the things you want to say. You've got your own personal relationship to God that's personal to you. All of this is like quintessentially Shocka. It's Kenneth. It's who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. Let's go back a bit. Let's go back a little bit, man.
Yes.
Tottenham.
Yes.
Growing up
farm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in London for a couple of years. I know Tottenham a bit. I've been to the Tottenham ground. I've been to watch Liverpool there. So I've seen a side of it.
I'm an Arsenal supporter, by the way.
I know you are.
Yeah.
We'll have that chat afterwards. We'll save that for the subscriber show.
Yeah. but yeah, go on.
But your experience of Tottenham growing up is very, very different to what my experience as an outsider and a tourist or someone coming into London is going to be.
Yeah.
It's brutal out there.
Yeah,
man.
definitely. Especially where I'm from. I'm from Broadwater Farm, and like just type Broadwater.
What's that, like an estate?
It's an estate. So type Broadwater Farm into Google later on.
Really?
And you'll see where I'm back off to.
Jesus.
So like I'm from Broadwater Farm, and it had 2 riots. 2. It had one in 1985 or 86, and a police officer's head got chopped off, or something along those lines, if I'm not quoting it correctly. And like Princess Diana had to come down to my area to try and be like, yo, you don't need to
calm down.
You don't need to calm down. You need to chill out. There's photos of her on like the estate. And
Crikey.
yeah, Broadwater Farm is wild. And then the last riot was in 2011 when Mark Duggan died. I'm sure we all know about that one. He got shot by the police. He was from my area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to see him all the time in the flesh.
No way.
And I see his son. Some of your viewers will probably know his son.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that event changed. I mean, it changed public discourse.
Yeah, definitely. It's history.
It's history. It was a proper event that made people go, I think we might need to address what the police are up to.
I remember going onto the high road the next day and like everything was burnt. It looked like something out of
Mad Max.
Yeah, seriously. I remember seeing it on telly, then going onto the high road in flesh and seeing it and thinking, wow, like, I really live here.
Wow.
Like, honestly.
How old were you when you got into music?
I was 13 years old.
Do you remember the first music you listened to? Like, do you remember the first music that you were exposed to?
I remember my first lyric.
Yeah?
I remember some of it. I said it on another podcast recently, and I'll say it again because it just makes me laugh. I can't believe that's what I was talking about. You ready?
Is this what you wrote?
This is what I wrote.
Do you need a beat?
No.
Are you sure?
Are you taking the water to make a beat? No, a cappella. You ready?
Come on, a cappella, come on.
So just picture me being 12 years old. It was like this. Some girl gave me, this is how you know that it's ages ago because of the slang that I'm using for...
Stop giving me context.
I said some girl
Stop giving me context. I want the rhyme, okay?
All right, you ready, yeah? Some girl gave me shiners. I went, ooh. Next thing you know, my tings went blue. I went to the doctors. What should I do? All because I'm black, I won't help you. See, I knew about race. Like, I can't, like, listen, it's like, I can't believe it myself. I don't know.
It sounds like something that was written in a Christmas card.
You know? I can't believe what I was talking about. I'd never had shyness. I don't know what I was talking about, making that up. Maybe trying to manifest the experience. But, and fact, it was called shyness. And that's what, like, ridiculous. Some girl gave me shyness. I went, ooh. So I was probably thinking like, okay, if I get it, I'll probably go, ooh. Next thing you know, my things are blue. Why would she have something to like...
I don't.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think we should pick the lyrics apart. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's much. I don't think there's much to be mined down there.
Yeah, that was my lyrics, ladies and gentlemen. 12 just shows you what kind of environment I'm in. Look what we're talking about.
It just shows you that from small weird acorns can grow beautiful trees.
Yeah, and then vulnerability is the new cool.
There you go.
Same person.
What a journey! What a journey! So you started making music at how old?
Started making music at like 12, 13.
Wow.
12, 13, really young, which I'm so happy about.
Yeah.
I am so happy. Not saying there's nothing wrong with starting now. The only way it'll be easier for you to start now is if you have your life priorities already set.
Yeah, of course.
And then you can just focus on honing on the craft. But if not, oh my God, you're going to have pressures of like, obviously, marriage and kids and making the time for it, making money. Like, it's just, because I feel the pressures now, but I'm already set. You know what I mean? So I think wow, what if that person that started yesterday
Yeah.
in their 30s? Not saying they can't do it, but like the pressures is, whereas I had 13 to like 26 by 18, I was like a beast because I had all that time, and I'm my only child. So I was in my own world. So I remember I used to just, Heartless Crew was the first. I don't know if you know who Heartless Crew is, but they was the first group that I saw. There's a place in my area called the Broadwalk Farm Community Centre, and they do something called a presentation, which is they give out awards, football awards. So I won Most Improved Player, and then the year after I won Players Player, which Players Player is what I'm really proud about, because that means the players
That's voted for by your peers.
Yes, exactly. So they have this presentation, but after the presentation, they have a party, and they got Heartless Crew to perform at the party. And I saw Heartless Crew, and I was like, what is that they're doing?
Really?
That's getting everyone jumping up and down. And then as I started following their journey, and then 2 weeks ago, I literally met one of the members.
No way.
Yeah. I'm right. It's crazy because like, it was like a full circle moment. Remember I said I saw him when I was a kid? Then I'll show you it in my phone afterwards. I can't show it now. My phone's over there. But like 2 weeks ago, I was at a place where he was performing at, and I'm right next to him again, like a kid, performing at right this distance. And I was like, this life is just, it's becoming a fairy tale now at this point. And he has no idea what that moment meant to me.
No.
He's just probably thinking, oh, this guy's filming next to me. Not knowing like, no, like...
You're like, why
like your existence is the reason why I'm on this.
Why is that guy crying?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Honestly, it's crazy. Wow. But yeah, big up Heartless Crew, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. And how old were you when you joined Marvel then?
Ooh, when I joined Marvel, I was
like 16, 17?
16, 17. By 1921, we was like massive all over the place.
Well, I was going to say, because like it was quite a rise.
Yeah.
Like things seem to move quite fast.
2 years.
2 years. Is that what it was?
We got together in 2008, I think it was. And then by 2010,
wow,
it was being tipped to like be the next to like...
You were signed
to an independent label. We couldn't get signed to a major because they kept selling us. It was out. Do you remember the group The Wanted?
Yeah.
It was out of us and The Wanted, who Wanted was signed to a label called Geffen.
I know Geffen.
It was out of us.
Geffen used to look after Nirvana back in the day.
It was out of us and The Wanted who they was thinking of signing, and they signed The Wanted, which is a good choice because they went on and smashed it. But it was out of us two. But they was like, we don't know how to mark, because we're 3 black boys from Tottenham. They was like, how are we gonna Amy?
Do any of you sing?
Yeah, exactly. Can we bring a girl into the group?
Boys to men in there.
Exactly. So there's like, how are we gonna do it? But we were confused because we're seeing like how much downloads we was getting for our mixtapes and the love we're getting. So we're thinking like, all you have to do is just take what we're doing and just give it just press the button on it, and they will love it when they see it. But they didn't want to risk to even do that. Hence why in this generation now, I'm so aggressive, because like the people in this generation don't understand the opportunity they got. The fact they can just, you see how you just reached out to me? That could have never happened.
No,
before.
never happened.
Do you know what I mean?
You can just release your own music.
Yeah.
You can just put it out there. I think it's more difficult now to forge a career in the same way.
Yeah.
I don't think the opportunities are there, because obviously when you were starting out, it was like live performances were everything. Like that was where you cut your teeth. You have to be able to do it on stage, and that's how you get hype, and that's how people go, "Oh my god, I saw this act last night. Oh my god, let's get their single and whatever." And that live stuff doesn't really.
Yeah, no.
You know, live music venues are closing down everywhere. I think it's hard in that sense.
People are doing it from their bedrooms now.
Do you know what I mean? But in terms of getting your music out there and creating,
it's perfect.
Oh,
it couldn't be a better time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It couldn't be a better time. The amount of opportunities. My first freestyle went viral from my bedroom.
No way.
I did a freestyle around the Grenfell situation, which I spoke about in the book, and that went viral from my bed. I couldn't believe it. I didn't leave my room, and when I did leave my room and I stepped out, I couldn't believe the not pandemonium, but like. I went to what event did I go to? There was an event I went to. So after I went viral and I was in my house, there was an event, and I went to an event, and like everyone was just looking at me like, yo, what you did was amazing. I was like, oh, so that's really real. No, like it's crazy. Sometimes you feel the internet's just the internet until you step outside. Like what you're doing is having an impact. And I went to this event and people were like showing me mad love. Like, yo, you went viral. Like, thank you for putting that together. Like and I was like, because I'm in my bench, I just did it in my room. I hadn't stepped out. So, and that was my first taste of it. And I realized, okay, I'm so happy that I was young enough to even still be in this era, to be able to come on the internet and not look like, the old uncle that's, Even though they're on TikTok too, but I was still young enough to get a piece of this. So I'm working on a new album called The People Choose Their Kings. It's finished, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Bro, you've only just released an album.
The inspiration hit me.
Love that.
Like, when it hits you, you got to go.
Love that. Do you mind talking about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
What's the theme of it? What are we talking about?
So The People Choose Their Kings is basically what I touched on. Was like the era that I came from, the record labels wasn't giving the people the chance to really choose who they wanted to represent for them. There was that era you can manufacture artists. You know what I mean? Put a pop group together and like play it so much times and before you know it, or you can buy billboards and like. This generation, they're picking whoever they want. You can put whatever you want in their face. If they don't like it, they don't like it. And they're picking whatever they want, and they want the person to say whatever they want. There's no like censoring. You know, before you couldn't even get on radio if you're saying, I did a, do you know AG? Have you seen AG from London with the decks in King's Cross?
Oh, yeah.
He like what he's doing. The people chose him.
Amazing.
Do you know what I mean? And he's allowing people to get the raw and uncut. I did a freestyle on his platform about women that's been through stuff like severe stuff like rape.
Yeah.
And like, I could have never done that on One Extra or like Radio 1. And he allowed me to do it like rawly on his platform. And like, I got so many girls commenting and just saying, thank you for getting that out in its rawest form. And that's where The People Choose Their Kings, the idea started forming. And I was like, oh, okay, that's just coming.
So it's more of like a sort of social commentary on the state of not just the music industry.
The music don't reflect the title, really. The music's about my life.
Right,
but the title, I want the title to be like a marker for me. So when I look back 10 years from now and I think about 2024 and 2025, I remember like that was that beautiful era where like everything came back into the people's hands again. Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah, I'll look back and be like, The People Choose Their Kings. That was the time where like,
I love that.
Do you know what I mean? Where like everything was organic and it was real and it was authentic and it was pure again. I remember that time. Obviously, it's going to get purer, hopefully. Or if it doesn't get, if it gets diluted, you know how they're trying to take TikTok away now. So they're already trying to take it from the people. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, if they do take it away and it gets restricted again, it'll mean even more to me because I look back and be like, that was that free time that we had where we was allowed to like choose and like, so that's what the album means. And it's finished. 12 songs.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Listen, I'm ready for some more Shocka.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not just saying this because you're sat in front of me. Yeah. I have played your album over and
you was one of the first people to message me
over again. It is what I think is amazing about it is that the topics and the things that you're covering, some of it is really, really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And there would be it would be a really obvious choice to make that music quite somber. I mean, let's take the opening track, for example, where you're talking about your life and you're talking about your journey and you're talking about where you are now and where you've come from and all of these things.
Yeah.
To talk so viscerally and really about mental health, but with such, not aggression, but like there's a real
preciseness.
The delivery is like, oh my God, I can't believe you're talking about mental health. Because most people who talk about mental health, myself included, you know, we sit up straight and we go, right, now we're going to talk about mental health. And you're like, well, the opening lyric on the album.
I can't believe for generations they said speaking about mental health is a taboo to motherfucking who.
I was like, honestly.
Yeah, but can you imagine it from my perspective though? Like
it's urgent. That's the word I'm looking for.
If someone said to you, the person's album you're about to listen to, the person that you're about to hear rapping has been to a mental institution 4 times. And he's heard voices and he's been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And he's been around like these patients that you run from on the streets. He ate breakfast with them and they used to come into his room randomly. If someone told you that's the person you're about to hear, how do you expect it to sound? Like what are you expecting?
Not like that. Not like that. No. It's so urgent. Yeah. That's what I really loved about it. It grabs you straight away. There is an aggression to it actually. It's almost like you as an artist.
I like the word urgent though.
It is urgent.
I like the word urgent. It's like we've got to get this out now.
Yeah, it's like you as the artist are kind of grabbing the listener and going, right, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, follow me on this journey.
We need to talk about mental health right fucking now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I just love, and it's got, you know, you've got there's obviously, you know, there's inspirations from like little bits of Kendrick in there in the flow and things. Nas, you know, all of these little things.
Even Kendrick from you know how I call my series Vent, and I'm on Vent 4. Kendrick had the heart. Remember, Kendrick's on the heart part 6.
Yeah,
that's where it came from.
Oh, I didn't get
that's
that.
where it came from. Because I remember
you really are a Kendrick fan, aren't you?
Fanatic. That's where it came from, and I love Drake too. So when I'm seeing both of them go at it, I've met Drake, so like I'm like, oh. But anyway, when I heard the heart,
you know he's suing him.
I know. I don't even want to talk about it. Please, let's not even go there. Like, let's not even go there. Like,
it's like your parents getting divorced.
I know, it's painful, man. Those are my guys. Anyway, so you know how Kendrick's got the heart part 1. I remember it got to the heart part 3, and I was like, I need a series like this. I need a series where I can just keep people updated and I can just vent. And I was like, no, sorry. That's first I had that initial idea. Then, you know that Grenfell freestyle I said I did that went viral? The caption was, can I vent?
Oh.
Yeah, if you go back to, obviously you're not going to go back to my Instagram, but if I find that, I send it to you. The caption was like, can I have a little vent? And then I spoke about the Grenfell situation. So it's like I was venting what's on my mind. Then every freestyle after that, all the captions was like, can I vent again?
Oh,
so I was
wow.
like, so people look forward to me venting about like, you know, what I had to say.
He's off again.
He's off again. And it was a good way for me to get out anyway, because I weren't seeing a therapist at that time, which people can't believe. They're like, you've been sexually 4 times, you've never seen a therapist. But music was where I was venting. Like, you can tell my music's, that's why it's so heavy, because I'm so lighthearted in person.
Yeah.
Because I get to put it somewhere. But if I didn't have that there, I wouldn't be like, in this interview, you'll feel it. You know what I'm saying? You'll be urged to be like, you should go therapy.
Yeah.
But because I've got somewhere to put it, I can like be free.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's how it turned into Vent. And then I'm on Vent 4.
That's incredible. I didn't realise there was that running theme throughout it.
Yeah.
That's great though, man, that you found that outlet. Not just because you clearly love music and you're an artist. You love lyrics, you love beats, you love working with different producers. I know you've had guest artists on your albums before. Yeah. You obviously, I mean, you're a scholar of music, man.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly like the grime scene. I mean, I look back now. I mean, man.
Yeah.
When all that stuff was coming out, I was like, how old are you?
I'm 36.
36.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
Okay.
I'm 5 years older than you. So when like Wretch came out, that first Wretch album,
the black and white album,
album,
yes,
I played that to death. Like to death, and then I started listening to, and then I got exposed to like Wiley. There was lots of different things that were coming at that time, but these are the people that you grew up surrounded by.
Rex restored my faith in life.
Really,
he was so good that, because don't forget, I heard him before anyone heard him, before the world heard him. Remember, I spoke about. He's in the book where I said I had a breakdown. I said that's how like much of a hero he was to me. So anyway, when he was having a bit of issues of like, you know, it wasn't really working for him, I remember saying like, nah. If he doesn't make it, he was out. I even feel like he was better then than now. I know Rex might hear this and kill me and be like, nah, when you hear my new stuff, you'll take that back. But he was light years ahead. And
I don't think he's got anything left to prove at this point.
That's what... He's always on some sort of mission though. But I remember saying to myself, like, if Rex don't make it, this thing is rigged. It's not. And then when he went number 1, and I remember we saw him somewhere. No, sorry, my friend saw him somewhere and was trying to like say something, talk to him, and like they was pushing him through, because that's how much of that he's the number 1 artist. And I just loved it. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
That's what you deserve. That's what you're supposed to be.
But that must have felt quite inspirational for you as well, to see someone that you know, that you're in physical contact with.
I've seen a few as well.
Yeah.
Remember we toured with Skepta?
Yeah.
So seeing Skepta now, like, global, toured with Chipmunks, seeing Chipmunks resurgence. Recorded our mixtapes at the same studio as Tiny Temper. So seeing Tiny Temper go on to get 7 number 1s and make history, written in the stars, Brit Awards. I've seen so much greatness. I'm greatness traumatized. Because I know there were certain people that probably was around me thinking like, you need to give up. But I'm thinking, I can't. I've seen too much. I'm cursed in a good way. Like, it's easy for you to give up because you haven't seen what I've seen. Do you know what I mean?
I've seen how achievable it is.
I know it's possible.
Yeah.
You don't know it's possible, so I get why you're thinking, now I'm packing this in. I can't pack it in if I wanted to, because the voice in my head's going to be like, you know you can achieve that, right? or the person that is achieving it will bring me around them. Might just invite me to a show or something, and I'll be that close to it, and I'm like, nah. Or even if I don't achieve it in music, I just know that level of success is obtainable.
Yeah, but what?
Jay Huss.
Yeah.
Jay Huss is before Daily Duppies on Grime Daily, they used to have this. They had another freeze. I forgot what it was called, but I was one of the people that filmed his one, and I had no idea who he was.
Wow.
No idea, but I just knew he was a superstar because as soon as we told him like, yeah, you ready to do a freestyle? You know what Jay Huss is like, how animated he is. And when he left, I remember saying to our friend Quason, I was like, who was that? And then I bumped it. I got to meet him again, which I got the picture, and I told him, yo, I filmed your Grime Daily freestyle. We spoke about it. Little Sims was in our first video. She's the little girl in the video.
She made me bawl my eyes out at Glastonbury.
Is it?
I cried my eyes out. I mean, it was this. We watched like 3/4 of her set, and then we ran to go and see the streets because my mate had never seen the streets, and I was like, "We've got it."
That's what it's gonna.
She had me crying my eyes out, man.
Yeah, she's incredible.
So much power. Yeah. This tiny little thing. This tiny little thing with all this energy.
Yeah. Such
success.
So can you imagine? Little Sims was in our first video, and then my TED Talk, Sway was at the front row. You know Sway, right? Yeah, Sway, like he's a legend. And if you watch the end of my TED Talk, you see me salute someone.
Is that who it is?
That was Sway. I saw him and I gave him the salute. So like, I've seen so much that I can't.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What does success look like for you
today? Woo! It's changed now. Today, success for me is doing what you love and being able to fund your lifestyle off the back of it. And that lifestyle doesn't have to be something lavish. It could be James calling me saying, do you want to go to Dubai tomorrow? And I'm able to do it off what I love doing, comfortably be able to do it. James calling me saying, I haven't been shopping in months. I need someone to go with and I can come with you. James calling me saying, do you want to go dinner? And I can do it. Just the comfortable necessities of life you can do off what you love though. Yeah. That's the key part.
Yeah.
If it's off something you don't love, then you're not included in this. But if it's off what you love, there's no better. I've done stuff for free and they've told me, oh, ain't you gonna take your money? And I'm like, oh shit. I've forgotten there's even a paycheck attached to what I've done.
That's a lovely place to be.
Incredible. That's success to me.
That is success.
If anyone's got a better definition, then let me know and I'll adopt it. But for now, that is my definition of success.
I think that's perfect. I think that's absolutely perfect. Because we have these ambitions, isn't it? There's a big difference between ambition and success.
Yeah.
Like we can all have ambitions and dreams, and we want a #1 album, we want a movie career or whatever. We want to be the #1 podcast, whatever. But actually, success is a much more personal thing, isn't it? I think, and being able to, like, so
the ambition is what you would like to get out of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes.
But what point does it become a success? Because it could become a success way before you even get what you get out of it.
Exactly. And also, if your ambition is to achieve something and then you achieve it and you don't enjoy it, and it's not what you thought it was going to be, then where's the success?
Exactly. Hence why I put in there, if you love it, and that's success to me.
I love that, man. What's your favorite track on your album?
Ooh.
Vulnerability is a new call. What's your favorite track?
Today, My War.
Yeah?
Yeah, My War's grown on me, man. I'm about to shoot a video for it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Can I be in it?
Me and Lynn Bailey. Do you want to be in it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you have to come London though.
All right, let me know. Let me know when. I've always wanted to do it. My little cousin's an MC in Birmingham, and he's just starting out. And he's just started gigging, and he's done a few music videos. And every time he puts something on Instagram, I'm like,
yeah, get me in there.
I'm literally an actor, and I'm related to you.
Yeah, use me, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly. No, My Wars. I love the beat in that. I love that. It's really, really cool, man.
Yeah, My War's my favorite at the moment. Everyone keeps telling me. I went to a wedding. I did a big up Selena, my G Selena, man. She got married, and someone came up to me there and he was like, "Oh, I listened to your album, really good album." And I was like, "Oh, what's your favorite song?" He said, My War. But like, no disrespect to him at all. But like, he was not the person that I was expecting. I thought he was going to say something like, Unite.
That's my favorite song.
Yeah. You know, it's a banger, but that's what I was expecting.
I'm an old drum and bass man. I love
that's
drum
what
and
I was
bass.
expecting. Like Unite, and he was like, "My war." Like I really feel like, and then I thought like, oh, I get why everyone likes that song because everyone's got their own war that they're dealing with. Like that's why it's called My War.
I think lyrically, I think everybody can relate to that song, can't they? Like overcoming things. I have all these obstacles in front of me. This is my world. This is my war. This is my fight.
Yes, exactly.
That's why people relate to it.
That's
so
what I
much.
got. That's what I got from it. That's what I'm getting now. And like, yeah, that's my favorite. Mr. Jealousy was my favorite for ages.
Which one?
Mr. Jealousy. Mr. Jealousy. Look what you put me through.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that was my favorite for ages because I remember like what place I was in when I wrote it. I remember like. I remember thinking to myself, like, I need to deal with this jealousy and envy, like, that's eating me up. How can I, again, I reverted to music. I was like, how can I write such a song that, like, whenever I hear it, it's just healing for me and happens to be healing for the other person. And, like, I wrote it. And I remember when I wrote, how happy I was when I wrote that second verse. Because it's the second verse that's really powerful. Obviously, the first verse is human, because you realize, oh shit, Shocka's got these problems. Like same way I feel is how he feels. But that second verse is where people might have stopped at the first verse and just vented their frustration of like jealousy and envy. But I don't know if they would have done the second verse and explained to us how they dealt with it. And like that second verse is what I was proud of because that second verse came later.
Oh really?
Yeah. So after I started, then I wrote the second verse and I was like, okay, yes.
Is it a funny thing writing songs because obviously they're so personal to you, and like you just said then, you just referenced it. You remember exactly where you were. You remember how you felt when you wrote that song, and it's such a personal thing. And then you kind of give it over to the world, and everybody else has their own interpretation and their own take of it. Is there a part? Do you ever get frustrated? Are you ever like, that's not what the song's about?
Sometimes.
Do you?
Sometimes. Especially if they're way off as well. Especially if they're way off, but like sometimes. But if not, I just love it. Like, take it and just, you know, however, like My War. Like, whatever it meant to him, that, you know, got him going and just ticked him when he heard it. It's like, all right, cool, let that mean that for you. Because certain songs do that for me. That I've been listening to a song on the way here on repeat called Favorite Cycle. She's talking about her man is cheating on her, but she is still around.
Ooh.
She's still on the side while he's doing all this stuff. Like a psycho fan. Like, you know, you're cheating on me and I still...
She tolerates it.
Yeah, basically. She's tolerating it. Do you know what I mean? And like, I didn't even know what she was talking about.
That's awful.
The lyrics just sound so... The melodies is just so beautiful. It's only when I said, all right, cool, you've listened to this song over and over. Let's start getting a grasp of what she's talking about. And I'm like, oh shit, is that what she's talking about? But like the song means something different to me. It's just so beautiful.
It's the lovely thing about art.
Yes. And that's the only, I see why people don't like to take the therapy route. Because the therapy route is just so plain and obvious for what it is. Whereas like music, you can almost like still trick yourself to what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like when we're having conversations like this, even if I make a mistake, you'll correct me and be like, no, this is what we're trying to say here. Whereas like music, there's no one to correct me when I'm listening to a song. I'm just taking it and I'm just, I'm in my own space of it.
I guess for me, I've had therapy. I've had 18 months of therapy.
Therapy is a beautiful thing, by the way. I hope no one watches this and thinks like, oh, he's against therapy. It is. I just wasn't mature enough at the time.
Absolutely. And also, you've got another creative outlet that helps you, and you know your own mind. And we're all individuals, and we all need different things at different times. I mean, for the record, I think everybody should at some point have some therapy. Because we all need an opportunity to sit down with somebody and just spill without any judgment, without anyone, and no context around it. This is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about myself. It had the most profound impact on me. It really did, because it's like you start to make connections in your own mind, and you start to understand. Like your therapist, or certainly my experience, my therapist never said, that's the reason that you feel like that. Your dad leaving when you were 8 years old, that's why. He never said that. I made those connections myself.
Yeah.
So they're far more important because I made them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
I agree.
It's a wonderful thing. And then you're a big advocate of self-love, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's been a kind of running theme, I think, throughout certainly through your most recent works and your talks.
Yeah, definitely.
You speak a lot about self-love, and that can take lots of different forms, can't it? You know, there's on the surface, it's like speaking kindly to yourself.
Yeah.
Is a huge part of it. But then there's other things as well, like mindfulness and living in the moment and trying to find joy in things and having boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, saying no to people. That's self-love.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
self-love it sounds crazy me saying this because people can be like, no, it can't be. What do you mean self-love can save the world? There's so many other, but it genuinely can. The only part of it that people don't like is that you have to do the work. If we all went away and did our self-love work and came back out into society, it would be much different. But it's like people want someone to do the work for them. When I say it can save the world, it's like if you take the time and do the work and come back, it'll be like a sat nav. You won't even have to do anything. You'll be course correcting yourself. I swear to you.
That's such a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, like, you know, a sat nav course corrects. Like, oh, you can't go left, we'll go. That's what it will be like. Everyone in society will be like, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Because you'll realize that if I said that to myself, how would I feel? So you would apologize on your own instead of the person saying, oh, I can't believe he never apologized for that. Because they're not even aware of like what it just did to you. So the self-awareness you'll get from self-love is incredible. So you'll be course correcting yourself. Oh, sorry, I should have done that. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, that's how you... And society will just be sick. It'll be like cars with no steering wheel. And we'll all be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, automated.
Yeah, we'll all be doing it like in a... You know what I mean? That's why like only a set of people in society operate that way. And it seems like they live in their own utopia. But it's not. It's because like that's the group of people that's done the work. Yeah. And what happens in life is that when you do the work, you get moved into that place with them. And you leave the people behind that hasn't done the work. And they don't see it as that. They see it as, oh, Shocka and James thinks they're better than everyone.
Betrayal.
That's why they're over here. Not knowing that, no, wait, they was just with us. What did they just, what? Oh, I remember him talking about something. He kept nagging on about it. Let me try it. And then when you try it, you come over here and I'm like, you see? There's no difference. So like, yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head, man. People aren't prepared to put the work in themselves. It's laziness. Yeah. You've got to start taking yourself seriously as a human being. We're only here for a short time.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Make some changes.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Grow the fuck up.
Yeah. I think Michael Jackson said it best. Man in the mirror.
So let's go back to Marvel.
Yes.
Let's go back to Marvel. So you things are going well.
Yep.
You join the collective. You hit kind of 18, 19, 20, 21. Things are moving really, really fast. You've signed. There's loads of hype around you guys.
Yes.
Your build has been the next big thing.
Yeah.
And then it didn't quite go to plan, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't, man. We had a single called We Know. I don't know what we thought we knew. Still trying to figure out why we called it that. Why did we call it that? Wait, how did the chorus go again? We know exactly what to do. That's why we're amazing.
Was it not we know brackets fuck all close bracket?
No, it was just we know. It was we know. And like yeah, I think it was like a cocky song though, because even the first line, we know exactly what to do. That's why we're amazing. So we're saying like, you know what I mean? Anyway, it came out on the 10th of the 10th, 2010. We picked that day specifically, which is crazy now, because that day is World Mental Health Day.
Is it?
Yeah, that's why I dropped the album, Vulnerability's New Cool, on the 10th of October.
Of course I never made that connection.
I didn't know then.
That's bizarre.
So I remember going on Google thinking, how long has it been that date for? And it's been that date since like ages. And I had no idea. So I was thinking, wow, we picked that date.
That's wild.
For the Marvel single. No one forced us. We chose 10-10-10. Which is which later on, as my life unfolds, I find out that like
that's a really important date.
Yeah. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So that's why I said my mind's blown.
Yeah.
Because like I've been guided through. So we released that single 10-10-10. We know single comes out, does horrible, and now I know why it did horrible, because like that's not the song that our supporters wanted from us. And anyway, at that time, even if your song doesn't do that number one, I think the pressure we had is because all our peers was like charting, but they had machines behind them. We was just with it independent, so there's no way we're going to compete with majors. And even if I remember Twin B saying, I say this all the time. Twin B was like Twin B and Twin A. They're the ones that signed Stormzy and Wretch V2. And I remember him saying like, even if your song doesn't chart, just go again. Keep building it. That's what we're here to do. It's not one. You don't define your career off like one single.
No, you build a library.
You build a library, and and we had a whole album ready to go. That's what was even more frustrating. We had a beautiful album. The album was called. We had two names. It was either going to be called Team, Together Everyone Achieves More, or Empower. So like, the album. I can't believe we didn't give them the album. And like, single came out, didn't do well. And the label just got cold feet, which is weird because like I've spoken to them now, which has come full circle. I've done like events for the label. Everything's just worked its way out.
Did they remember
Of
that
course.
period? Do they?
Of course. And they said they ran out of money. But I didn't know. We didn't get a chance to even talk like that at the time. But like,
because they put you up somewhere as well. They put you up in an apartment. Was that right?
Yes. No. This was after.
Oh, that was after. Right.
That's a whole different situation.
Right.
But they said they ran out of money, but they didn't. We didn't get put to us like that at the time. And we ended up getting dropped from the label. And then like that's when I knew what depression was. For the first time in my life, depression hit. Up until that point, I had been like. Happy-go-lucky Shocks. Everything in my life was just flowing. As I mentioned, being an only child. So like my house was the games house. I had PlayStation. I had Dreamcast. Remember Dreamcast?
Oh,
I had Games Cube.
Dreamcast failed miserably, man.
I had all of them. And my house was the house everyone used to come to like play games. And like my mum made sure I was proper spoiled. So you can imagine like a spoiled brat getting dropped from a record label. Like, what, me? And that was another thing that was difficult to, not to jump ahead in the story, but like that was another thing that was, so anyway, let me get there. So after I got dropped from the record label, I spiraled into like deep depression off the back of that, being isolated, just staying at home, trying to figure myself out, like what is going on here? And I ended up getting sectioned for the first time. So dropped from the label, single came out 10-10-10. 2010, 10th of October. Dropped from the label in 2011. But we toured with Chipmunk that year in 2010. And we toured with Diversity at the end of 2010. I just saw a book at home as well that had like, it was a book that one of our supporters made for us. And it has pictures in it, of course, whatever. And it had a picture of like Diversity announcing the tour dates. And it was December 2010. So that was an incredible year. Imagine doing Chipmunk's tour that year and ending it with Diversity. Then anyway, which they paid for us to get on a tour, which was even more money. That wasn't free. Diversity didn't call us to go on that tour.
Wow.
They had a slot and we paid to get on it. And then, which I wish the single had come out when we was on that tour. Because like, I remember we performed the song on the tour and like all the parents were saying, we know. And like, see, like, oh my God. Anyway, we missed that window. 2011, we get dropped from the record label. Then we go on tour with Skepta at the end of that year. But by that time, we was already deflated. That was kind of like the... Let's just give you your last moment. Obviously, Skepta didn't do that intentionally. He genuinely wanted to help us. But that was kind of like this is going to be your last moment. And then we did the Skepta tour at the end of the year. And then, I had a big breakdown after that, man. Came home one day. I don't know what I was trying to say to my mum. Probably trying to communicate how I was feeling, but wasn't as articulate as I am now. And my mum didn't understand it. Mum's Nigerian, I'm from African background. First thing she resorted to was calling a pastor from Nigeria, which is understandable. And the pastor prayed for me over the phone. I remember it. And then after the phone hung up, I was thinking like, okay, the voices, everything that I'm feeling is going to, disappear. And it was still there. And I panicked. I freaked out. And that's when I had like a huge breakdown. And I had an uncle.
Sorry to interrupt. So you were hearing voices at that point. That had started.
It wasn't as intense as it will go on to be later, but there was trickles of it. I remember like I wasn't myself.
Like whispers.
Yeah, I wasn't myself. There was trickles of it. And I had an uncle that was staying with me, which is funny because, this is crazy. You know the auntie that I stayed with that took me to the church where I, made the covenant and I had that. His wife, that's his wife. So my uncle is married to my auntie, which is my mum's sister. So that's how and he's a doctor in Nigeria. So how I got back from Nigeria when I went boarding school out there, I got malaria in Nigeria. I got ill and my mum panicked. But it was his hospital they took me to while I was in Nigeria to get treated and stuff. So like that's how I came back. So anyway, they brought him. That's what I said. It's mind blowing. They brought him to the UK, and he was staying with us.
Wow.
And don't forget, he's a doctor. So when I was having my breakdown, he came downstairs and said, "Oh, I know exactly what's going on here. We need to get him to the hospital. He's having a breakdown." So he was the one to explain it and articulate it. So that's when they called the ambulance. And then I got sectioned for the first time. And then this crazy journey started from that point. Can you imagine how my world just got turned upside down?
No,
Like,
how
up until
old,
that point.
How old were you at this point?
First time I got sectioned, I was maybe 21.
21?
About 21. About 21. I had no idea what the word sectioning meant. In my area, it's not called sectioning. It's called going mad, losing your mind, lost the plot. He went crazy. That's what they was calling it in my area. I'm just calling it the term sectioning so I can communicate with a wider audience. But in my area, it wasn't called, it must say, "Oh, Shocka got sectioned." I was like, "Bro, yeah, Shocka went mad." And like, I'm a star in my area as well. So you can imagine what it was like for me.
You talk about it in the book, being led out to the ambulance and neighbours and people coming out and like everyone was looking at what was going on.
No, it wasn't that deep.
It wasn't that deep?
No, it wasn't that deep. But I had a few people that was around me, but it wasn't like,
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's what I was
like,
lucky. I was lucky. Okay. Yeah, I was lucky. I was lucky it wasn't in this viral time where like.
Yeah, you'd have been all over Instagram.
Ooh, Shocka from Marv. Ooh, James, can you imagine? Yeah, so, and that's been one, and that's like, that fear of that has helped me throughout a numerous of my breakdowns, which I mentioned in the book. When I had my third time being sectioned and I went to Magaluf, that kept me like, that thought of like having a breakdown in public is what managed to keep me together.
Well, you managed
till I got home.
I was going to say, you managed to get on the plane.
Yep.
You managed to get all the way back, and you knew before you went to Magaluf that things weren't right.
Yeah.
But you thought, no, I'm just gonna get on with it. This is gonna be a laugh. The boys are there. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
And then it starts.
And I remember my mum saying, my mum kept it so real. She was like, "You're going abroad. This is not like you're around the corner and you can just run home. You're abroad. So like, make sure you take your medication with you." That's all she said. She said, "I'm not going to stop you from going. You're an adult. I can't tell you don't go on holiday. You still go anyway. I can't physically hold you back anymore." But take it. And I didn't. Because at that time, me and medication was not getting along. I had all the stigmas that everyone has. I had that. But now it's like, I'm way past that. I take my medication. No one tells me to take I take my medication every night. I might miss 1 or 2 times at most, but I take it myself. Because like, I've seen the implications, and you know what I mean? So like, that's why I said you got to have your own personal encounters with certain things. So like, no one doesn't force me to take there's no one there to force me to even take it. So I better take it with my, my own initiative. But like, that's where I'm at with it now.
It's amazing, man. Do you mind going into a little bit more detail about schizophrenia? Are you happy to talk about it?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you sure?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
As an ignorant person, I've never sat down with somebody with schizophrenia before. I've never had this conversation before, and we have. When you say the word schizophrenia, it throws up lots of images. It throws up lots of voices and violence and scary things. Like, what's it like on a human level for you?
How I try to explain it, the best I can, because I remember sitting there thinking like, I'm gonna get asked this question so much times, and how can I? No, seriously, like, I get asked this question so much times, and I'm like, how can I like explain it to someone and somehow make them like get it? Do you know what I mean? And like, the best way I came up with it is like the VCR. Is it not VCR? What's the goggles called?
Virtual reality, VR.
Yeah, VR. I'm putting the C in there.
It was you throwing H's and S's around.
Yeah, VR glasses, yeah. That's what it's like. It's like having a VR glasses, but what you're seeing is all your fears. And no one else can't see it but you. So imagine that. So like, you're panicking and stuff, and everyone's thinking like, "James, what are you panicking over?"
Jesus Christ.
That's the best way. And I put that on my TikTok, one of the videos where I said that. And my editor's incredible. So what he managed to do, while I'm talking like this, he's showing a clip of someone with like VR glasses on, panicking, and everyone's like, yeah. So like, he got to show people. I'll send you the video if I can.
Yeah.
So like, it's the best way to see it. And that's the best way. So it's like, you're in a different world. And then you snap. And that's why I say VR, because when you take off the VR glasses, you realize like, nothing
that wasn't
serious.
real.
And that's what happens with me. Every time I come back to myself from like an episode, I'll look at messages I sent or like, you know, different stuff that got said to me, and I'm seeing it in the correct perception. I'm like, oh, that wasn't even, they didn't even mean that. Yeah, frightening. For me anyway. And then voices on top of that to add to it. It's terrible experience. And that's just a mild case. Because you can tell it's mild because I'm still here functioning. Yeah. There's like severe. So like.
Because people never come back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's terrifying, man.
Scary stuff. Scary stuff.
You recognize the triggers. You recognize things aren't going right.
At this point now, yeah.
You got the medication as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, that aside, you're thriving, man. That's what I like to see, is people that thrive. It's not just about existing. It's not just about getting through the day or, you know, it's about thriving.
But that was intentional because like, that's what I fought for. I wanted to show people the possibilities after sectioning because I never had that. And that's what I say in the book. And I came out of hospital, I remember like looking around, who got sectioned as much times as me, or even, you didn't even have to get sectioned this much times. Who's been sectioned once and gone back into society and like did something? I was looking for celebrities that's been sectioned. No one came up. I'm looking for, and then now I've got a whole community. But I realized it's because of the stigma and shame around it. People had been sectioned, people are doing things, but no one wanted to disclose that part of their life. Because of the stigma around it. Someone introduced me to someone the other day that owns a whole African restaurant. And Akon was at the restaurant, and I met him, and he was like, yeah, I listened to your talk, and I relate. He said I've been sectioned 3 times. And like, yeah. And I'm like, where was you? So like, it's all happening how it's meant to happen. So, and yeah, I started a series called A Section of, you know how my book's called A Section of My Life? I started a series called A Section of Your Life, where I talk to people that's been sectioned and get them to speak about their life.
Wow.
I'm like 8 episodes in, and I got like 8 people waiting.
Did you keep in touch with anyone that you were in?
No,
with?
These are people that just reached out.
Really? These are just normal, random people that have been through similar things.
I'm so proud of it because like my intention for it is that I want people that's been sectioned to want to strive to get on section of your life. Because the good thing about it is that you have to be well to get on it. You know what I mean? So it's going to make people think, oh, I'd love to go in there one day to like tell my story. So it's going to strive, and you're seeing other people's stories, which I never had. So like once I can get that out to the world, that's my contribution.
I love that, man. You mentioned, I picked up on a couple of words you used then. I think you used the word shame.
Yeah.
And stigma.
Yeah.
Around, well, the stigma that exists around talking about mental health and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you might speak about what that's like as a black man in the black community, especially coming from somewhere like Tottenham, where there is this, you know, social economic issues that exist there. You know, there are people in real poverty in parts of inner city London.
Yeah.
White people don't talk about mental health enough, but for black men that almost have to be strong, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You have to fight.
Yeah.
Not physically, but you have to fight against oppression. You fought against racism. You fought against slavery.
Yeah.
All of these things, they're all parts of this really complicated, intricate world that exists. And when you're struggling with mental health, like who do you turn to? Because it's just not spoken about.
I think the shame on white people and black people's side, on all ethnicities, and especially around mental health, is how you're perceived. Because like this is the dumbest part. So this is the most dumbest part. Please clip this part and just do what you got to do with this part. This is the most dumbest part. The dumbest part about the shame around mental health, about how we're perceived, is that we want to be perceived as perfect. When we all know, and we all say the saying all the time, no one isn't what? No one isn't perfect, but we want to be perceived as perfect, knowing deep down that no one isn't perfect. So, and you can imagine now, what is the biggest obstacle to that perception? It's mental health. Because mental health shows your flaws, that you're not doing well and you're not okay. And no one wants to be not okay. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants, do you know what I mean? So that's where the problem is, the perception around it. It's the fact that when you go to the doctors and you say you're not doing well, that's not enough to get you the medication. You have to go deeper into why you're not doing well. And that's the part that people don't want to have that conversation. If you can just go to the doctors and say, can I have my medication? Can I have my antibiotics? I'm feeling ill, yeah? Everyone will do it. But that's why people are avoiding therapy too. Because and that's why that's why I made Vulnerability is the New Cool album. because I'm trying to say, no, that part, if you go, like, you realize that it's actually cooler than you think, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's that part of, like, the doctor saying, so why don't you feel well? Or, like, what is the, you know what I mean? And then, like, you having to explain it.
Yeah.
And this is the most funny thing as well, is that, like, that thing that you're scared to explain, everyone else is going through at home too. But because no one hasn't said it, you don't know. So, like, it's like someone telling you there's going to be a football match today, and, like, you run onto the pitch, and you're obviously everyone's getting ready, they're coming out in the changing room, but you don't know, and you run onto the pitch, and you're first onto the pitch. Can you imagine how much thoughts is going through your head? Oh my God, is everyone here? Am I early?
I've got the wrong day.
I got the wrong day. And you're like, no, let me just wait for like 2 minutes and see. And then you see everyone running out, and it's like, and like, that's how I felt, like, talking about section at first. It's like, Shocka, what are you doing? Don't say that. You're going to embarrass your family, and then everyone. And then now in 2025, James is here. What's good, brother? James is here and doing his part, and like everyone's doing their little piece, and like there's a whole football team now, and like, yeah, man, sick.
It is. It's what we were talking about earlier as well, about identity and authenticity.
Yeah.
Like if you stand in a group of people, your peers and your friends and people who, you know, might not necessarily want to talk about these things, and you put your hand up and say, listen, lads, I got mental health problems.
Yep.
Like you're giving them permission to do the same thing, and all of a sudden you create this cycle. It works both ways.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing I think about being vulnerable and talking about these things is not only are you getting it off your own chest and offloading what you need to, you're also giving them permission to do the same.
Yes.
So there's this lovely, beautiful, this lovely dialogue happens.
Yes, exactly.
And we need to encourage more of this.
Yeah.
What's it like when you go back to Tottenham? You're still there?
I'm still in the jungle.
You're still
I'm in the jungle. But I'm so hidden though.
Are you?
Like people see me, Shocks, right? He's here. He's still here. Like, I loved your thing. I saw your thing on the internet. Like, but it's love though.
Yeah.
It's love. Like the love I get. That will make me not want to move out because of the love I get. Like, it's love, and I hope it never changes. Like,
good,
and transforms. Like, they got me to turn on the Christmas lights in my area. I don't know if you saw that, and like, I see Wiley commenting and everyone commenting. Like, that's sick. Like, that's iconic for me.
Yeah,
I didn't even know Christmas lights existed in Brunei. I didn't know. Like, I got the email and someone messaged me saying, "Would you want to turn on those kids there?" And like, yeah. So, like,
so inspiring, you know, to all those kids on those.
For sure. That's what I was thinking.
Those kids on those estates, man.
You know how I saw Heartless Crew when I was young?
Yeah.
One of those kids are going to be like, I saw Shocka turn on the Christmas light. And that made me, like, trust me, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's really, really lovely. It's really lovely. Especially when it comes to stuff, you know, the things that you talk about and the subjects that you deal with. I can't think of anyone else doing what you do.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone, is there? I don't want to...
Yeah.
There isn't.
Yeah.
No one
Someone
else...
would say that to me as well. Someone was like, the topics you cover, obviously Eminem was crazy, but like, he was crazy with like, the topics was crazy too. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like the topics I'm covering, they're not even crazy. They're just taboo subjects that
That's exactly what it is.
We've just shunned away from. But they're not, when you think about, oh, Mr. Jealousy, oh yeah, no, for real. I do get jealous. I was jealous of the other, I just never spoken about it because I didn't want no one to know. Do you know what I mean? Or like fighting my vices. Or I'm speaking about porn addictions and stuff. It's like, no, I do. I know what I was doing the other night. I just never brought it up too much. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, these are just human subjects that like we don't talk about. That I've just said, hey guys.
Someone's got to.
Look at this. And then like, are we going to talk about this? Or am I the only one? If I'm the only one, then that's cool. And then someone else comes and says, nah, Shocks, like, I'm not going to lie. And then like, we have this sick conversation. So it's like, yeah, it's just who wants to go first, really. And I don't blame people for not wanting to go first because it's a daunting. It's just, it's horrible having to like, you know, go first. It's horrible. But it's rewarding.
When was the first time that you felt that? That you felt like, oh my God, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone here? Because obviously,
I think the TED Talk.
Was it the TED Talk?
It was before that, but the TED Talk was a stamp. That's when I knew, like, that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, I am about to become a mental health advocate.
Yeah, that's it. And I didn't even know what mental health advocate was. I just saw someone with the title mental health advocate, and I was like, nah, surely that's me. Like, obviously you got the professional certificate, but I was like, no, like I've got the lived experience. And that's when I was like, no, I'm just going to start saying I'm a mental health advocate. Then I was like, actually, I'm going to redefine it, what it means for me. And I was like, a mental health advocate to me is someone that uses their darkness to shine a light for others. And I was like, oh, that means everyone can be mental health advocates because we all have darkness. It's just dependent if you want to use it to shine a light. That is the difference. That's what turns a normal person to a mental health advocate, is when you decide to say, do you know what? I'm going to take what I've been through. I'm going to use it to shine. That's when you become a mental health advocate. Before that, you're just,
someone suffering.
Yeah, someone's suffering. But when James says, right, I'm going to start the podcast, he's now transitioning to like a mental health advocate in his own way.
That makes me a mental health advocate.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that. I've done it. I've done a few things. I've spoken on a few.
Oh, don't get me started. What are we talking about your history or like?
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Well, I don't like. I don't like
when you message me, just tell the world how I responded back. I didn't say, "Oh, hey, thanks." I said, "Bro."
I sent you a message. I don't even think I sent you a voice note. I think I just sent you like just a DM, just like, "Hey, I've got this podcast. Do you want to come on?" And you sent me the most excitable voice note I think I've ever received. Yeah. I was so unexpected.
Yeah, even how you responded as well. You said, "Oh, that's a lovely voice."
It was really, really lovely. You were like, "Bro,"
because I was on the Hollyoaks row. I just met Jamie Warren, but I still called him Warren. And like me and my friend used to like Warren was our guy, and like so when you messaged me, I looked at it again and I looked at the picture and I was like, "Nah, what?" And I remember I was just telling them in the office just now, and where I come from, I was telling them, I was like, I always told myself, which is funny, because I used to watch Hollywood, because remember that period was like where I had all the idle time. I remember they do the repeats on E4 and like I used to catch the repeats. And then if I miss it, well, I wasn't missing it because I had nothing to do. But then I'll watch the Omnibus on Sunday that had like all the episodes in one. And then I remember saying to myself though, I was like, I know I'm busy when I don't have time to watch Hollyoaks anymore. That's when I'm going to know that like something has finally started happening with my life. And it's crazy because like...
and now Hollyoaks is sat right in front of you instead.
It's a crazy life.
It's funny, the amount of like, I get a lot of people coming up to me, especially in Liverpool. I get a lot of fellas coming up and saying, used to watch it in prison all the time.
Is it? Oh yeah, of course.
It's massive in the prison system. Yeah. There's a fella who works in my petrol station. He's the loveliest lad. And when you see someone and you can just tell that they've been through some stuff. Like he's seen things. Lovely guy, really friendly, really great to be around. And he was like the whole wing used to sit down at 6:30 and watch Hollyoaks. Yeah. That's just wild to me.
Yeah. Hollyoaks is like Marvel for me. When people come up to me and talk to me about my Marvel days, it's like I can say this now, we didn't realize we affected you more, but like we affected a generation, which is crazy because like, especially when you're younger, you're not really looking at like now, intentionally, I know my intention is like to shape a generation's perspective around mental health intentionally. So like if someone comes up to me 20 years later saying, "Yo, you got me through depression," I'm ready for it. Yeah. At that time, you're just having fun. You're just acting in the show with Hollyoaks. I'm just doing marks, so you're not looking at it like that.
No. Actually, I would disagree. I absolutely was aware.
Is it?
100%
That's
aware.
Crazy.
The care and attention that we put into those storylines, especially when we're dealing with like really significant material.
That's true. Actually, you were dealing with that from early.
I did a male rape storyline. Yeah. The amount of research and work that went in. I'm now an ambassador for a male sexual abuse charity called We Are Survivors. Incredible work. Shout out Survivors. We take it really, really seriously. So what you're seeing on screen is every single minute detail of the script, of the performance, the conversations we've had with researchers, with directors, with producers. Everything has to be absolutely on the money because it's so important. Yeah. You can't leave it to chance.
True. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Do you know what I mean?
So I forgot about the storylines that you're dealing with. Yeah,
but it's a funny thing because at the end of the day, and similar to you with your music, we'll go full circle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an actor you're a musician.
Yeah.
Like fundamentally, I know we're mental health advocates, and we want to make this, we want to shed a light on this, and we want people to talk, and we want men especially to stop killing themselves.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, we're artists,
Yeah.
and I always think it's a really interesting thing when art and like social conscience and important issues come together.
Yeah, definitely.
I always think that's a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
How do you find that in your work? Because your work, certainly your the latter part of your career, your last few albums, is so personal to you. Do you really care much about kind of commercial success? Is that ever really it come into your mind, or are you like? Because I know you said before that it's almost like therapy to you.
Yeah.
Like you want to get it. You want to lay down your vocal, get it out of you, have that experience, and put it down on I don't want to say tape. Showing my age. My non records on fucking tape. What are you talking about? Digital.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? How important is that to you, or is it just this is my story and I want to get it out and I want people to listen?
No, because like you want to grow, especially it's like football. You want to see your football team in the Premier League. I mean, you want to see your football team at the top of the league. I mean, you want to see them do well, and like I get that too. It's like some of my supporters will message me like, "Oh, why are you not in the Wireless Festival lineup?" Or like, you know what I mean? Because they're bragging about you to their friends because you look good. Like I look, even though I'm saying like I'm not involved in the Kendrick and Drake, but like I've been a Kendrick fanatic, so like people will come up to me like, "Yo, your guy, like." Yeah, he's on some stuff. Like you're telling me about him. Do you know what I mean? So like it makes you look good. So you want to grow not just for yourself, but like for your supporters. Because if you keep doing the same things over and over, they can't brag about you. Oh, what's your guy Shocka up to? Oh, he's doing
banging on about mental health again.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Or even if you are mental health, grow. Like, do you know what I mean?
So does that? So is it? So
hence why the book came.
Exactly. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll give that one more plug to the camera. There you go. So is it about finding that balance then? So lyrically, you're dealing with really complicated and really complex and personal things.
Yeah.
But musically, in terms of the beat and who you collaborate with and who produces
that's what turns it into art.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why my sound is called conscious pop.
Ah, that's
that's
where
what
it
I call
comes
my music.
from.
Yeah, conscious pop.
So the pop is the production side of
and
it.
the hooks and like
The melodies.
the melodies, like my walk. That's the hooks are infectious, but the lyrics is like the conscious part. You put that together, you have conscious pop. You have me. So it can go pop. That's it. Hence, look at the background. We're both different, but like you appreciate it. Like, oh, I like the beats and the melodies. You forget that. Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, conscious pop.
Love that.
Yeah,
Just learned something.
yeah. Because I needed that pop element because that's what was stopping the conscious stuff from crossing over.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I realized Kendrick had that and Jake, they're my favorites. And I was like, oh, they got the pop side with like, bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Yeah.
People are singing up, but what you're talking about, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's
Drake especially.
Oh, Drake's pop star,
has
like yeah.
such a way with melody.
Yeah,
I think the lyrics sometimes, certainly in his last few albums, Drake stuff I could take or leave, but melody wise and hook, he is head and shoulders above everybody else.
That was my biggest fear. Was like, I didn't want to be the conscious rapper that was like not progressing because the music was too deep and people couldn't get into it. So I was like, how? So that's when I started. Because before I came out, I studied like everyone that had a message and that made it work. So I studied Kanye, College Dropout, and he had the funny kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like that workout song, 1, 2, 3, 4, get your sit-ups right in. You know what I mean? And he had like, and then Lauryn Hill, how she did it in Miseducation, then how Nas did it, and I was just studying it, and I was like, oh, they all had like, there was a musicality to it. It wasn't just deep messages being rammed in, you know what I mean, thrown in your face. It was like, there was a pop side to it, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to call my sound, conscious pop. Because I always had that pop side from the Marvel days. If you listen to the Marvel mixtapes, which I doubt you would have heard them, but like we used to do freestyles on Britney Spears. We used to do freestyles on, there was a beat called Riverside. Remember? There's Riverside, motherfuckers. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We jumped to that beat. Yeah, so we was always like, do you know what I mean?
Did you?
And that saved me because, yeah, no, seriously. And that saved me because the Self-Love song, which is my biggest song, I nearly missed out on that. Because when the producer was telling me he's got a beat for me, he was like, I can't send you this one because it's a bit poppy. And I was like, nah, don't put me in a box like that. Send it over and let me see what I can do. And he sent it over and I did Self-Love on it. So imagine I was just, the conscious deep guy.
It's such a great tune as well, man.
Yeah. And I didn't rap one word in it. I'm singing on the whole thing.
I think the Germans call it an earworm. I think that's a German phrase. They call it das Earworm. and it's a song that burrows into your head. And self-love is absolutely that.
Yeah.
Like you find yourself humming it all day.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Shocka, get out of my
That was the epitome of conscious pop.
Really?
It's a really conscious, like what I'm saying is powerful. You
Yeah,
give everybody else that, but
yeah.
but the melodies and like, that was like when I first got the marriage correct. Because I had so many attempts before that the world never heard. But that was the first attempt where like, and I know it was the right attempt because you get the right results. Like it clicked. Again, why the people choose their kings concept comes in. And the people rarely get it wrong. If you look at the people that like we choose to be our stars, like obviously not how they behave sometimes, but like in terms of the art they're giving us, they generally get it right. Like Kanye's art-wise.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why Kanye is so successful.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Drake had that astronomical rise.
Yeah.
Drake went from like, I mean, I think I heard him feature on something maybe, and then all of a sudden I was like, he's not off the fucking radio.
And another thing with the people choose their kings that they forget, there's an element, just a tiny piece that we forget. Most of the people that's putting you in these positions, they're artists too. So they know what's quality. Because like some of my fans will be like, oh, check out my music. You know what I mean? So like that means like for them to put you in that position, they've got to put their ego aside and say, no, he's the one. Like, trust me, I make music. I'm a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar. I'm an artist too, but I know like, no.
Yeah.
When you go studio, it's a serious affair. So like that's the beauty of it. It's like most of these people that's putting you in these positions, they don't just do, they got dreams too. Like if a painter recommends you, like it's most likely he knows about his painting. So like that's what makes it even more beautiful.
You mentioned Wireless Festival briefly before.
Yes.
Performing live, you've got a big gig coming up.
Yes,
You've just put your tickets.
Are you coming?
You've just put your tickets on sale.
Yes.
Right. It's on a Sunday night. I have put a holiday request in to my employer to get the Monday off work. I'm waiting for them to confirm. As soon as they confirm, I'm there.
Jeez.
I wouldn't miss it for the world. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I ain't done a show in 2 years.
Wow,
3 years.
really?
3 years. The last show I did was when my mum passed that month. So that show was emotional. So this show is going to be way more like, obviously with the materials heavy, but even that, I'm not even going to be performing the heavy because it's a live show. That's again having that IQ of understanding that when people come to a live show, they want to really vibe. I'll throw it in there because it can't just be bangers, bangers, bangers.
No,
but like
you've got to have some. You've got to earn the bangers.
Yeah, for sure. So
it can't just be bangers.
Yeah,
people be exhausted.
Yeah, it would be a show. So like my last show was beautiful, but this show again, there's growth. Like the O2 is an academy. Do you know what I mean?
Have you booked support yet?
I got a couple people in mind. I just sent like 4 people to my manager and said, just let me know what you think.
Amazing.
So like, so the O2 is an academy. Yeah, there's growth. There's growth, and it's
you
just
seem excited.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and better.
Do you get nervous before you perform?
Ooh, something like that. I will, cause like people paid and like people traveled and like headline shows are nervous, but like as soon as you get into it and you realize like people are here to have a good time, you automatically take that pressure off. Do you know what I mean? Because your first perception of it is that like, oh my God, I need to do something spectacular and have a, but then like. When you start performing and you start seeing the person in front like having a good time, you realize they didn't even care. Obviously, they want a good show, but like they came to see you. That's the beauty of your headline show.
They're on your side.
Yes, exactly.
They are on your side.
Yes.
It's up to you to mess that up.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Seriously. Because when I go see my artists, I'm there to see them, really. I've seen them stumble on lines and like take a drink in between. I'm with it. Like come back to us, like take your sip and like I'm with it. So like that's why I just love headline shows because they're generally your supporters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they know the music, they're ready, they know what they're.
That's going to be a really special night. That. Yeah, I'm going to bring some people down with me as well.
Yeah, it's going to be epic.
I'm going to have a wild time. I haven't been to as many gigs in the past.
What was your last gig?
Nas.
Oh, that was the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
when was that?
just before Christmas.
Okay.
Like it was this beginning of December in Manchester. He played the whole Illmatic album from start to finish. And then when he finished the Illmatic album,
was he celebrating like 30 years of it?
Yeah.
Or was it okay? Yeah.
Yeah, so he played the whole album, and then he just played just choice cuts for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The entire thing, like he didn't need to rap. He needed to press play and just put the mic up.
And just be there. So
honestly, I've never seen such a connection between an audience and an artist before.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, because it's Nas.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and also, because it was like an older crowd as well.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a young crowd.
Yeah.
So no one there gives a shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's no wanting to look cool. It's all people my age going, right, I've got babysitter for 3 hours.
Let me have it.
Let's have it. You know?
Yep.
I love that celebration. What about festivals, man? Have you ever done?
I ain't done festivals. I ain't done enough. I think I've done one.
You would fit in so. I go to Glastonbury every year.
Yeah.
I've done. I think I've done 12 Glastonburys now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a veteran.
Back to back. Like every year.
I've missed 1 year. I've missed 1 year.
That's crazy.
In the past, well, yeah, like 15 years. But you would fit in so well at Glastonbury. So well, because it's such an eclectic.
Yeah.
It's such an eclectic selection of music.
I have that in mind when I'm making my music.
Honestly, you'd fit in so well there. People
like Unite, like I had that in mind. I'm thinking of like,
God, and there's so much hip hop there.
Yeah.
There's so much. There's all different. There's Afro beats. There's drum and bass. There's techno. You name it, and it's there. And you would honestly, mate, we need to make this.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But music's political, man. It's about numbers. It's about booking agents. It's about there's so much stuff to it. But it's gonna happen.
I feel like Glastonbury's probably the least. Well, it's not a corporate festival, so they don't have to answer to sponsors or anything like that.
Yeah.
The only people that sponsor Glastonbury is WaterAid and oh God, what's the other one? Not Save the Children. WaterAid and there's two.
So they have more free will with like.
So they have
lineup.
complete free will with the lineup. So you have some really weird stuff out there, man. I saw a drum and bass DJ with a brass section, and it was all these old fellas in little hats with trumpets and drum and bass, and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I could see you on that lineup.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man.
And what else have you got planned for this year?
What have I got planned? I want to finish this book.
Yeah.
I'm quarter way through it. I'm taking my time with it. Same with that. Same section of my life. I took my time with it. I'm taking my time with this book. I want to finish that. It'll probably come out. If it's the same process as this, then it'll take a year to come out. That took a year after I finished it to come out. So the book will be like 2026, which is amazing because that adds more exciting things for the year. Then obviously the People Choose Their Kings album. I want to release that for May. We'll see though. Don't quote me on that. But I want to release that for May. I was thinking Mental Health Awareness Week, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, don't rush it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rushing it. We'll see what happens. There's a few things happening. There's so much going on within my community as well. There's an event called Shape in Tottenham that's happening next week. And they've asked me to perform at the event, which is incredible because it's just a beautiful thing being involved in the community because
they're your people.
They're my people. And I always used to tell my friends, I'm going to get a mural. I'm going to have my mural in Tottenham. Whether it's when I'm alive or that, the mural is coming. Do you know what I mean? And like, so now like I'm involved with like, you know, the mayor and like all these key people. It's just a beautiful thing seeing it come to play. But yeah, there's some things happening.
It's amazing, man. You've got the artist stuff where you're releasing albums and books and all that. And then you've got the real ground level, like the real work that you're doing in Tottenham, and when you're going around to schools and you're speaking and you're speaking to children about mental health, like it's almost like you've got two cups and
that's what I like about
both.
The variety of like,
yeah,
I never had that before. Hence where all the pressure came from, because it's like I was banking on like, you know what I mean, making it in music, and that's like banking on winning the lottery.
Yeah,
like, it's out of your control. Do you know what I mean? And you're banking on it. Of course, you're gonna have a breakdown. Whereas like now I've got my hands in like, if music's not, you know, flourishing at a point, we're over here, we're doing schools. Because think about it, for the past 3 years, I haven't really been doing music anyway. Vulnerability is the new cool. I've been working on that since 2020. and it only came out last year for like 4 years. So in that 4 years, I was doing like building up the mental health stuff, and I didn't even realize I wasn't doing music because I was so like, do you know what I mean, occupied. So yeah, it's just a beautiful thing, and they're all things I love doing as well. So like, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I can't complain.
You seem full of. You seem full of joy. You seem full of life. You seem like you've got a real like. You just seem excited.
Yeah,
it's great to see, man. I can't wait to hear more from you. I can't wait to hear more music from you. I can't wait to read your next book. As I say, I'm gonna pass this one on to my mum.
Yes.
She's very excited to read it. And if anyone watching or listening has not picked up a copy of this yet, A Section of My Life, it's beautiful. It's raw, and there's parts of it that are difficult to read.
Yeah.
But the story is amazing, as you know, as we've just heard.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Pleasure, honor. Let's do it again when the album comes out, or when something comes out. Just let me know. You see me promoting the book, Shocked, get back down here.